All right, welcome back, everybody. If you caught the last video, we went over the Thanksgiving and Black Friday games, and we're going to hop right into the Sunday games. So hopefully, if you didn't catch that video, go ahead and check that one out. But yeah, we're just going to roll right into it, kind of get some continuity going. We just went over the Dolphins Jets. First game up of the Sunday slate, we got the Buccaneers in Indianapolis against the Colts. I think we were split on this one. We did have one odd man out. But I'll start this one off. Me and Jake are going to be taking the Bucks on this one. Uh, Buccaneers, Baker Mayfield. He's kind of been up and down this year, but I still think right now he's the better quarterback than Minshew, at least in terms of reliability, I suppose. Gardner is kind of he either is going crazy or is just kind of non-existent. Yes, Jonathan Taylor's kind of back in the rotation as the lead back, definitely managing or taking all the reps. But I like the Bucks defense. I think they should be able to keep Jonathan Taylor at bay, and we know their secondary is pretty strong. So that young core of the Colts receivers, we know Pittman is kind of the vet, but he's not that great. I don't think he's like a pure receiver one. And Alec Pierce, Josh Downs, they have their moments, but this is a tough secondary, and I think they'll be able to keep them at bay this game. But I'll let Braden give his spiel for the Colts.
Yeah, I got the Colts. I'm definitely expecting this one to be a closer game. Kind of even, almost evenly matched teams. So that's why I'm kind of siding with the Colts. I take the home team, have this slight advantage playing at home. I like what the Colts have on offense. Jonathan Taylor's finally kind of getting back to being the main focus of that offense. It is going to be a tough matchup. We know what the Bucks defense, at least run defense, has been for the last few years, been kind of one of the best in the league. Always been stout, but I mean, they'll find ways to use Jonathan Taylor. He led the league in rushing yards, I think, a year back, 2 years back. So he has shown flashes that he can be the best running back in the league. I think he is, but he can show those flashes. And for the passing attack, I still trust Gardner Minshew. I still always thought he was one of the better backups in the league. And you give him the weapons of Michael Pittman. I agree with Bryson. He's not the best option, but you pair that with the Josh Downs, who's kind of getting back to healthy, kind of been hurt these last few weeks. So gonna finally get those two receivers out there fully healthy. Just give Gardner Minshew weapons, and O line's always been good for the Colts, so I expect their offense. Defense wise, it's kind of where I'm a little bit scared for the Colts. They aren't the worst, but we know what the Bucks have on offense. It's a lot of weapons. It could be too much for the Colts, but I'm hoping they rally around it. Just figure out how to get enough stops and enough plays in to keep this game close and give Gardner Minshew a chance to win this.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good game. Should be a close one. But next one up, we've got the Patriots in New York versus the Giants. I'll let Jake take this one.
This is the real game of the week. Not the firepower. It's who will be closer to getting the golden ticket of getting Caleb Williams, that first overall pick. Maybe neither of them will. Maybe it's just going to be the Bears, but they're both in the running. Giants and Patriots. Who's going to get that higher draft pick? But honestly, I can't even give you a breakdown of who's going to win this. I chose the Giants just because with Danny DeVito, it's a fun story. It's Danny DeVito versus Mac Jones, probably,
Who
right?
knows?
I can't even tell you who the
Yeah,
starter
I'm
is
not
right now for
sure.
the
I haven't
Patriots.
been
That's
following who's
what
starting.
that's what we know right now. Obviously that can change. I'm pretty sure that's probably going to be it. But I'll go with Danny DeVito. Like I said, I like the story. They beat the Commanders, which apparently they have their number. It might not mean anything, but just for the sake of it, I'll take the Giants. So that's all. That's really all I got.
Yeah. For those exact same reasons, that's why I'm going to be taking the Patriots, just kind of for the sake of it. Uh, I think, like you said, the story is cool for DeVito, but I feel like that game against the Commanders was just kind of a one-hit wonder. I don't think he'll do it again, and I think this is a good game for the Patriots to finally have a decent day against another crap team. So, just for the sake of it, I'm taking the Patriots. It's the same thing with the Giants right now. Don't really have like a good, no
Honestly,
actual legit reasoning to take them, but
yours is more logical than mine. You're taking Bill Belichick, right?
I wanted to
It's
like
good.
coming into it. I would have taken the Giants, but just because it was like gonna be unanimous if I had, for the sake of it, I'm taking the Patriots. So this is just
All right.
basically another just screw it pick, you know.
I'm only taking the Giants because I'm gonna take the best player on the field, and that's Saquon. I don't
That
think
is true. Yeah,
Nah,
okay, I'll
nah,
give
nah,
you
just
that
kidding.
one, Saquon.
it's
I'm
not
just
the
kidding.
greatest name, but
I'm
it's the
just
best
kidding.
one that's gonna be on
Yeah,
the
yeah,
field
yeah.
Sunday.
I'll give you that one.
Oh, don't sleep on Danny DeVito.
Crazy.
Okay.
I'm
All
just kidding.
right,
Also, I apologize to his mother if he's watching.
Jeez. All right, next up, we got another battle of rookie quarterbacks. Got the Panthers versus the Titans in Tennessee. Get the Bryce Young versus Levis matchup. I'll start this one off. I'm going to be the odd man out here taking the Panthers. I think it's just kind of been a rough year for the Panthers, but by all means, the Titans aren't that great right now. Levis kind of had that hot start and has kind of been not necessarily died out, but just hasn't been up to that level of expectations because he had that crazy start. I think a lot of people expected him to maybe not replicate the exact same, but kind of be close to it, and it just hasn't been there. Yeah, there's been some tough defenses he's been up against, but I feel like it's just going to be a battle of mediocrity, and I feel like the Panthers are due for a win. And yeah, just right now, I think I don't hate Bryce Young. I don't necessarily think that the losses are his fault. I think it's just a lack of weapons and a lack of just structure around him being kind of really the only big name on the team outside of Adam Thielen, which is another argument or another debate for another day about my thoughts on Adam Thielen, which we'll have to have one of these days eventually. But maybe as we get closer to the end of the year. But yeah, got to take the Panthers on this one just for me. Just kind of another one of those toss ups that I feel like could go either way. And I'm playing the risk. Betting on Bryce Young, but I'll let one of you guys, whoever wants to, take the Titans for this one.
I'll take this one. Like you said, battle of rookie QBs. I'm gonna go with Will Levis and the Titans. There's a reason why Bryce Young was the number one pick, and the Panthers were able to trade up. It's because they weren't a good team. They'd never had much in place before they had Bryce Young. Just missing talent everywhere, pretty much across the board. Bryce Young never came into a great situation as most QBs that go number one do. Just you don't have much that first year. And Will Levis being a second round quarterback, and Titans were decent. He at least came in with Derrick Henry. They got Hopkins. They still have a decent defense. Plays tough, and their line is still middle of the pack, I would say. So just a better team around Will Levis, and he's kind of showing that he's been playing better because he has these options, and I think it just continues. I I won't count Bryce Young out as being the worst quarterback this far in the season, but I think Will Levis outplays him this week just due to the talent around him.
Yeah, I don't hate that. Next up, we got the Jaguars in Houston versus the Texans. I'll let Jake take this one first. We are going to be split, but I'll let you take it for the Jags.
Dougie P, I'm going back to the well in this one. Jags aren't, I'm not gonna say the Jags are back, but obviously they found some sort of a rhythm. I mean, Calvin really even started ramping up production. I'm not saying that's the reason why they're gonna win, but I think I'm just gonna go with the veteran group on this one. I liked what the Jags did last week. Like I said, kind of getting into a rhythm, and the Jags dropped the first matchup earlier in the year, which was a little bit off, seeing that they were at home and they were the veteran team. But I think they're going to split. Just happens that uh, both of the away teams are going to take the win in this one. I think Trevor Lawrence. I think that Jags offense, Travis Etienne. I think they'll get going, and I think the Jags defense will do just enough to uh, kind of stop. I don't think they're going to full on stop C.J. Stroud, but I think they can do enough to just get the win.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I mean, I do like the Jags, but it's just tough right now. I'm on the CJ Stroud chain right now, and you guys know I've been on it all year, but I got to stay on it. I like this matchup because I think that the Texans defense, I mean, obviously the names haven't changed, but I think the Texans defense was playing worse in that first game than they have been playing now. Their defense has kind of been on a tear the last few weeks. Definitely stepping up, making big plays, kind of figuring things out, getting in a rhythm. And they really stepped up compared to the first half of the season, where they kind of were just non existent and it was basically just Stroud keeping them in games. But I feel like the last few weeks, they've really kind of come together and definitely been helping Stroud out, kind of taking the weight off of his shoulders. Definitely stepping up in bigger moments, not just it being, giving up touchdowns easily. And Stroud's got to make that fourth quarter, last drive comeback. I mean, it has happened. Stroud, he's had a few game-winning drives, but I think the defense has been a lot better than it was. So I think this is going to be a little bit different than the first time. Yeah, they got the win, and I think the defense is better than it was now. So I do like the Jaguars. I don't want to necessarily say that, like you said, that they're back. Um, I think I still got to see a little more consistency from them and from Calvin Ridley. Yeah, he had that first huge game in the debut, and then kind of was just trickling here and there, and then finally had a big game. So until I see some consistency from that, the only person I really trust is Etienne. Even Trevor Lawrence has kind of been up and down the entire season. So for me, Stroud has been the more consistent quarterback as the rookie. He's obviously a rookie of the year lock in, and right now is I think right now I mean I don't want to say like as a potential or obviously next year could be different, but right now I think Stroud is the better quarterback, and yeah, I gotta stick with my guy. And I think it's going to be a good game, though. Definitely an interesting one, especially for the division and the playoff picture. Because right now, that division is super tight. Texans are right behind them, so this is definitely going to make a difference for that division. And I think the storyline would be awesome if Stroud can take the division, lead them into the playoffs, maybe even get a playoff win. Who knows? But yeah, this is going to be a big game. Definitely could be game of the week, at least in terms of the story and the relevance to the playoff picture. But yeah, it should be an interesting one. This is definitely one I'm going to want to watch. But that's going to wrap up for that one. We'll roll right into the next one. We got the Saints in Atlanta against the Falcons. We are going to be split, another division matchup. I'll start us off. I'm going to be taking the Falcons as the odd man out here. Uh, I know Ritter. I think Ritter's going to be starting. I saw.
Yeah.
I've always thought the Falcons were better with Ritter. I think Heineke came in just because there were a few games that Ritter just kind of wasn't playing great. I don't like either of them really. Obviously, if I could pick a different quarterback, I would. But I think Ritter's the better one, at least in terms of potential, what he's done, what he can do. Uh, I don't know. I think it's more of a sense of if Arthur Smith can figure out to use what he has, but we know he's not. But yeah, I don't know. The Saints are weird for me right now. Derek Carr's injuries throughout the whole season kind of just been really worrisome. Healthy, unhealthy, healthy, unhealthy. I think Michael Thomas is out, I believe.
IR.
IR. Alvin Kamara, we know Alvin Kamara is like the identity of the Saints right now. And their defense isn't half bad right now, too. At least on paper, the names are there. Defense hasn't been great for the year, but I don't know. I just like the Falcons right now at home. We know Desmond Ritter's record at home. Yeah, he did get a loss earlier in the year, but I still like Ritter in home games. So I got to stick with the Falcons on this one. Just gets kind of another one of those toss-up games that I feel like could go either way. Yeah, if one of y'all want to give the Saints.
I'll
You want
take the
this one?
Saints. I've been on their bandwagon pretty much most of this year. I like what the Saints have doing. I said it all year. They're not a high-powered offense. They're pretty good offense in my opinion too. I still like what Derek Carr's been doing. Definitely, he's got that offense moving, putting Taysom Hill, kind of changing up the tempo and everything has really worked for that offense, kind of leading to more points, just being. And their defense kind of always been solid and still doing the job. They're just, in my opinion, just a really well-rounded team. Not amazing, but a little bit above like middle of the pack. And I see the Falcons as a little bit behind the pack, middle of the pack right now. It doesn't look good when you bench your quarterback 1 week and then you go back to him the next week. It's just kind of tells you a lot about how much faith you have in your quarterback, and just it's not a great look as a head coach in my opinion. And we all know the kind of criticism Arthur Smith has been under this year with just the productions he's getting from all his young talent. As we all know that they're almost generational talents. They look like just, I mean, at least with Kyle Pitts and Bijan Robinson, they're just freaks of nature, and just kind of not anywhere what we expected them to be doing. So I'm gonna take the Saints, just better team all around, and you know who the quarterback is.
Gabu wins. I'm
Only
just kidding.
injury
Just
this
kidding.
wins Nick. I want him back though in the league. He needs to be back.
But yeah, that should be. I definitely think it's going to be just kind of a dirty neck and neck game. Not, low scoring. Um, but coming up in the afternoon games for Sunday, we got the Browns in Denver versus the Broncos. Um, I'll let Jake start us off with the Browns. This is the odd man out here.
So for the same reason that I picked the Broncos last week to beat the Vikings, picking the Browns because Broncos are on a roll. I want to say it was that 4 or 5 games winning streak. Can't remember which one it is, but they're playing better, a lot better. Defense is playing. They're doing their job this time, right? Looking a little bit like last year's defense when they were struggling. Offense, Russell Wilson's looking good, putting up points, but this Browns defense, as we know, is one of the best, and I think they can shut them down. I think the only question is whether or not Dorian Thompson-Robinson can do enough, and I think he can. I think as long as they rely on that run game, Kareem Hunt and Jerome Ford, I think that should be enough to get the job done. And I almost said Nick Chubb. Myles Garrett, he's going to continue to eat. He's one of the best defensive players in the league. The reason why he's in that defensive player of the year conversation. So expect him to continue that dominance. And yeah, like I said, Broncos have been hot, so I expect the Browns to kind of just cool them off a little bit.
Yeah, I'll let Braden if you want to do the Broncos.
Yeah. I mean, you saw what the Browns did last week. Dorian Thompson didn't really show me anything that really kind of came out the page that I wanted to trust him to win me games. I just thought the Steelers just had a really bad game on offense. Give credit to their defense. We all know what Cleveland's defense like, but I didn't see much offense out of that. You just focused on stopping the run game, which I mean it's harder to do than said. Yeah, but I like what the Broncos have been doing these last few weeks. I think, I mean, me included, I felt like a lot of people counted them out early in the season, especially after the Miami 70-point blowout. Just you had questions about offense and defense, and I felt like both sides of the ball have been kind of just playing a lot better. We know they have a lot of pieces on defense that's finally getting put together, and Russell Wilson is kind of starting to look back in that caliber of just top tier quarterbacks, in my opinion. Not the most flashiest like stats wise, but I think he's just doing good, protecting the ball, winning games. Him and Sean Payton look like they're just timing it right, getting that late season kind of fire, and just hopefully they can run into the playoffs, keep this game winning streak alive. And yeah, I think the Browns still need to figure out what they're going to do in offense because I don't trust Thompson throwing the ball that many times against any defense, in my opinion. So I got the Broncos winning this one. Let Russ cook.
Broncos
That
country.
DTR cook.
Broncos country. Let's ride.
Let him
I'm
get
just kidding.
cooked.
Let him run.
But next up in the last afternoon game, outside of our home teams, we got the Chiefs in Las Vegas versus the Raiders. We were all unanimous on this one, taking the Chiefs. Yeah, the Chiefs have been struggling kind of the entire season with offense. The defense has definitely played a big part in a lot of their games. Tough loss to the Eagles last week. Drops yet again are affecting Mahomes in that offense. Definitely, I think they're regretting not making a move on a receiver at the trade deadline. But again, it's Mahomes and Kelsey, and we know what they can do. It's just hard to bet against them. And you know, they were really close to being damn near undefeated this year. Maybe one of those losses really was like for sure, like definitely they lost that game. The other ones were just key players, injuries, and then the drops, obviously. But yeah, the Raiders. O'Connell has kind of been not horrible, but definitely not been like standing out as anything surprising from what we would expect from a rookie quarterback coming in, filling in for an injured vet. But we know Devontae Adams is Devontae Adams. He's probably going to get his. And Josh Jacobs has kind of been a little inconsistent this year. It's been hot and cold, kind of up and down. But yeah, the Chiefs are just hard to bet against because they're the Chiefs. No matter how bad they're playing, it's really hard to bet against them. And this is just one of those games that you can't really. Wouldn't be surprised if they drop it to the Raiders, though, just because the Raiders somehow find a way to give them problems. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if this is a lot closer, especially if the Chiefs don't clean up. Especially, I'll say it's more the offensive side. That defense is it's really good, but
Yeah.
that offense doesn't clean up the act, especially in the second half. I think the Raiders. I'm not gonna say the Raiders are gonna win because I'm still gonna give the Chiefs benefit of the doubt with Andy Reid and Mahomes. But the way the Raiders are playing with this new head coach, they got a new fire under them. They're competitive, so I can see this being very competitive until the end.
yeah, no, definitely think
If we did a spread, I would have loved to take the Raiders on this one.
I think I would have too.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Definitely would. But that's going to wrap it up for the afternoon games. Getting into our prime time here, Sunday night. We got the Ravens in Los Angeles versus the Chargers. I will let one of y'all, I guess Jake. I think we haven't heard from Jake in a while. We'll get Jake take the Ravens for this one.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to the Ravens are the better team, better quarterback, better team, and Chargers are dealing with a lot of injuries. Defensive and offensive side of the ball. I think they're only not just their only healthy, but their only good receiver is Keenan Allen, right? Um, Quentin Johnson is struggling. That's the right word to say. He's struggling, just playing. Not going to write him off just yet, but he's struggling, and I just don't really know who they have after that besides Austin Eckler. But yeah, I think in this Ravens defense, we know that they're a good defense. One of the best in the league as well. And I think it also just comes down to, like I said, better quarterback, better team. Justin Herbert has really struggled against teams with winning records. So until I see it, I gotta take the Ravens. Until I see Justin Herbert take down these giants in the AFC, or I mean any team, any contending team, then yeah, I'm taking the Ravens.
Yeah, I'm gonna be the odd man out here. Not because I want to pick the Chargers as the better team, I definitely think the Ravens are, and if it wasn't just kind of a screw it, maybe go with a gut feeling, I'd probably take the Ravens. But like you said, you kind of waiting to see that from Herbert, and I feel like this is that game that we might see it. Definitely the season could be done for the Chargers, at least in terms of the playoffs. Definitely not looking great. The AFC is pretty strong right now. There's a lot of teams that are fighting for that wild card, and they're kind of not really in that mix. Um, yeah, injuries have been tough. The defense has been struggling all year. I mean, they've maybe had one or two games where they look like the way we thought they were going to look. Uh, but I do like them in this game. I feel like Herbert, this is a chance for them to say that, hey, we're still a relevant team in terms of the powerhouses in the West or in the AFC. Um, Definitely not comparable to the Ravens in terms of the success and the other AFC teams, Dolphins, Chiefs. Uh, but at least for Herbert, he's definitely one of the bigger name quarterbacks, and I expect him to have a good day. Keenan Allen as well. We know Keenan Allen, like you said, is really the kind of the sole target, the Devontae Adams of that team, the Travis Kelsey of that team, just the one sole skill player that's just going to eat targets. Um, I don't hate Quentin Johnson. I think he's just kind of been, he's a rookie. It's rough when you're not one of the big names, coming out of that draft like Jamar Chase and just some of these huge receivers that just had immediate success. I don't think he's horrible. I think it's definitely Keenan Allen takes a lot from him in terms of the trust on that offense, but I think he'll eventually make his way into potentially the receiver two, if not the three spot. I know Williams, the injury, um, kind of just like you said, that team's been riddled with injuries, but I think they'll have a good day. Hopefully, the defense can step up and keep them somewhat at bay. I could see this one being a pretty high scoring game. We've seen the Chargers in shootouts before, so I don't know. I'm just kind of feeling this one, especially since they're kind of just being written off right now. I definitely think I could see Herbert kind of leading them to victory in this one. But that's going to wrap it up for the Sunday games. Last but not least, we got our Monday night football. And we got the Bears in Minnesota versus the Vikings. I'm pretty sure we were all unanimous Vikings on this one, correct? I'll let
Yep.
Braden give us the Vikings for this one.
Still on the Joshua Dobbs train. Supposed to say he's been playing kind of lights out pretty much this whole season, and whenever he's been a starter, he's been getting the offense to move. Bears have been looking good recently. I'll give it to that with Justin Fields coming back. I know Khalil Herbert is getting back in the mix, so they're starting to get healthy on that offense. They're definitely starting to look better than when they had Bagent,
Yeah.
whatever
Badger, yeah.
yeah, when they had him in. So they're looking like a better team. Just being better on offense helps the defense as well. But Minnesota's just been playing really well. Their defense has definitely stepped up since since week 4. They've been really kind of honing in and just getting stops, keeping the games low scoring, putting Joshua Dobbs in positions to win. I mean, he even had a chance last week to come back, just couldn't make the drive, unfortunately, at the end. But they've been keeping games close. Vikings are still fighting right now. I think they're right outside the wild card for the NFC, I believe, or they might be in that 7th seed. I don't know too much about the NFC playoff or wild card seeding, but I think they keep their momentum going, and I kind of don't see the Bears keeping this progress going for too much longer. They tend to collapse once they start looking good and people start trusting them. So
Yeah, the Vikings are like the 6th seed right now.
6. Ooh,
Yeah, so they're not half bad.
so they're a playoff team.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, I think this is the way I'm looking at it right now. This is kind of that part in the season where you either need to commit to the tank or teams need to figure out what they're doing, right? Because if the Bears are really looking at getting, yeah, obviously, could they make potential moves to trade up? Yes, but why do that if you can? I mean, I don't want to say like just intentionally tank, which I mean we've seen teams do it, but um, if they want to go for that 1-2, Caleb Marvin Harrison combo, I don't know what they're thinking, if that is their plan. But if they're looking to do something like that, they definitely need to make a decision like, hey, like, are we really trying hard to win games right now? And kind of, especially with the way the Giants are looking and the Panthers, like, and this draft could go either way, even in the AFC too. So I think right now, if you're the Bears, Justin Fields just came back from injury, took a close loss to the Broncos. Is it really worth it to kind of have him ball out as hard as he can just to kind of ruin the draft hopes? But I mean, they'll still get their picks, but why take lower picks and trade up when you can just tank for the higher ones? I don't know. To me, but who knows? Like you said, Justin Fields. They're hot and then they're cold. You always get your hopes up, and then they just crash and burn. So expect
It's the Bears' life.
take the Fields over on interceptions if it's like 0.5 or something. One interception guaranteed for sure. Got it. But anybody else got anything before we kind of wrap it up?
Nah. Vikings are gonna win this. Oh my god. Astronaut.
Somebody was going to say it. I knew it.
Yeah, it's only with me.
Dog season, baby.
Yeah, job season. Yeah, we know how you feel about jobs. Well, that's going to wrap it up for our main slate of games outside of our home teams. But and that will wrap up this video. And in the next one, we'll go over our teams: Rams, Steelers, Eagles. So be sure to check that one out, and we'll see you in the next one.